Yo, what's going on YouTube? And in today's video, we'll be talking again about Reiju and how I got first place with my list. So this is essentially the same list that I showed you guys before. Nothing's really changed. Just wanted to go over it again, just kind of sort of discuss how it works and how we've changed to a much more aggressive build. So obviously there's Reiju and just same as before, we are going into for the baby Reiju, 4 of the big Reiju, 4 of the pudding, and this is in no particular order. 2 of the Sanji, 3 of the Tony Chopper, 4 of the Porsches. We're going 4 of the stages. We're going 3 of the Sora, 3 Searcher, 4 of the EGG Big, 4 of the EGG Little, 3 Black Maria, 2 of the Blockers, 2 of the Sanji Blocker Yanji, 1 Judge, 1 Gina, 1 Queen, and 1 Baby Yanji. Now, the list that I did go against were my first matchup was the mirror, and I opened up pretty fortunately. I had opened up with the 2-cost Reiju and a big Reiju on turn 1, so I just went ahead and played that out, which led me for the rest of the game. Then my next matchup, I believe, was against Katakuri, and I just saw most of the aggression that I needed to see early game, thanks to my pudding and Sanji combination, which is just pretty good to have in the deck. These two, in essence, if I had to describe what playing this is like in the deck, it's like playing Reiju. It's like hard playing a Reiju for 4, but instead of not getting the draw 2 because you're above your opponent, you still get the draw 2 because, well, his just effect is just to draw 1, and leader ability is to draw 1. So you're still just go ahead and get that draw 2 for 4. That's one of the reasons why I think the combo just works so good at the deck. And also because Pudding's lingering effect to keep ramping you down and keeping you on track with leader skill, just helping you get up faster and helping you just have more Dawn for higher swings and just playing more characters out. I think that's really, really crucial for how the strategy of this deck works. So yeah, the last matchup I had against was against Purple Luffy, and the Purple Luffy player saw every single thing he needed to see exactly as he needed to see it on curve every single turn. Yeah, but I was just able to outpace him with this build because it just puts a lot of aggression on board. As you can see, there's no blue pudding, there's no gravity blades, there's no Gungam jet pistol. None of that is here because none of that is useful or none of that does much for you. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, you can jet pistol something and then just go in from there. Or just if you got bodies on board, jet pistol is really good. If you don't have bodies on board, not jet pistol, red rock, I'm sorry. If you don't have bodies on board, red rock is not as effective as you would like it to be. It's kind of mid. In this version of the deck, you could probably get away with the red rock. I might try that out because you do not lose Dawn as much as you would in a standard build thanks to the pudding. The pudding is pretty much what keeps you being super aggro. The pudding in combination with these choppers, like I said, they just allow you to stay as aggro as you can on your opponent. I'm gonna do another little shuffle up here, just kind of try to show you guys a little bit of what I'm talking about and how the deck just became so much more aggro. All right, so we have our example hand here, and we're going to say that we are actually going first. So we would gain a Dawn, then we would pass to our opponent. Our opponent would do their opponent-like things, would come back to our turn. We would restand all of our things, so we had to restand. We would draw for turn. We get 2 more Dawn. At this time, we would swing 5 at lead, and, our opponent do whatever. We would just go ahead and play a simple pudding for 3. So go ahead and tap those 3 for your pudding. And then we pass to our opponent. This time we wouldn't mind taking a life, because generally speaking, we only take one and we try and keep the rest as healthy as we can. Take one to turn into the chopper, and then it passes to our turn. We restand everything. We draw for turn. Now keep in mind we're about to lose 2 cards out of hand, so we're going to have 5 in hand. So we'll be able, this combo is going to work pretty well for us. So we don't have anything special. We're just showing off what we can do here. So again, because we have the pudding, we're a 5 Don as a Reiju player. Now we have a few options. Me personally, I would personally go ahead and swing first. The reason that I would swing first is because I want to bait out whatever I can out of my opponent's hand, or out of my opponent's resources, or whatever the case may be. In this case, before I would usually I would wait to swing, but in this case, because I am going to draw, and drawing will change the outcome of what I choose to do, I will actually choose to use the Reijus first. So I would tap my 2, then I would play this Reiju out, and then I would use this Reiju's ability, and I would go Dawn -1. Now keep in mind that if you are going first and your opponent is going second, you're at 5 Dawn turn, they are at 4 Dawn turn. They should be at 4 Dawn, so when you activate this skill, you're going to go Reiju to graveyard, Reiju out of hand. Now you're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the hand, as previously discussed it, and as previously discussed, and you're at 4 Dawn, which is going to be even with your opponent, making it so that your Reiju effect can activate. So then you'll go draw 1, draw 2, and then leader skill will draw 3. And now, again, goes back to what I said earlier. Now the thing in which I'm going to do is going to change, which is why I'm not going to strike first with lead. Because, well, now that I know now that I have an idea of what I'm going to do with this 3 Dawn, um, I still think that I'm going to go ahead and play my stage first for one. And then I'm going to use my stage. I'm going to get rid of a pudding, and then I'm going to check my top 3. 1, 2, 3, and well, that worked out in favor. Alright, stage has been rested, and now I can go my 5 with leader. And then opponent does whatevs, and then I go tap 2. Now see again, see how this changed what I would have done. See, if I didn't come into this, then what I would have done is I would have just went ahead and went into a 7 with leader, just for a little bit higher aggression, and because I don't necessarily need this pudding for next turn, but it would be nice to have. But anyway, I would be tapping 2 to play, and then Dawn -1 to go ahead to exchange. Oh yeah, I would get 1 Dawn back for pudding. I don't think I ever did that, but I'll get it back for this card effect, because I was wondering why the heck it is that I don't have 1 additional Dawn. But right, pudding would actually give me 1 additional Dawn. Then I'd have the blocker, the Reiju. This would be my trash. This would be my hand. I've got 1 2K, which I'm willing to give up, and then I've got the other cards here, which I'm willing to give up. And keep in mind, I did summon that Reiju last turn, or was that Reiju this turn? No, that Reiju was this turn. So you got 2 5 bodies out. A turn. Your opponent's going to want to develop a board, so swinging high at you is not going to be the play for your opponent. So they're going to probably swing a base of 5. So if that's the case, you would go ahead and just discard that, because well, you don't really need putting more after this point once you hit 6 die. So you can actually afford to lose her, and because if you do play another skill, then you're just going to be alright, and you're already down less than your opponent, and on the upcoming turn you'll still be even with your opponent, because they were at 4 die, so they're going to be at 6 die, so you're also going to be at 6 die, so all of your effects are going to be live, including this being a 6,000 power body. So on your turn, we're going to refresh, and we're going to draw for turn. Gonna get 2 done. That Sanji is going to be replaced for the other Reiju once it comes out. I think that you don't run that Sanji anymore once Big Reiju comes out. With that being said, because we are at the same amount of Don as our opponent, if we wanted to, we can go ahead and start getting really cheeky here. So we can afford to do a couple things here. I wouldn't recommend get rid of the 2K because you might need it for the end game. But you're in such an interesting scenario to where if you draw another Reiju, you're going to want to draw more with your Reiju. You do have 3 life and another blocker that you do plan on playing this turn. So me personally, I'll probably get rid of this 2K and just go ahead and search my top 3. And let's see, because we are at 6 Don, I just go ahead and grab this. Now, I am tempted to grab the Reiju, but I want to start being a little bit more aggressive this turn. So I'm going to grab the big Ichiji. Then, because me and my opponent are at 6 Don, I'm going to go tap 2, or even before I go tap 2, actually, this is where I would go swing 5 at lead, and then I would go swing another 5 at lead, and then I'd be even so ballsy as to swing another 6 at leader, because again, we got through life. Your opponent could focus your life, but because of how your board state is about to be, that would be ill-advised. Then we would tap 4 for the Ichiji. We would go ahead and go Don minus for Ichiji's effect. So go ahead and trash him to go ahead and play out the big Ichiji. And then from playing out the big Ichiji, we would go ahead and use leader skill to draw 1. And then we would use putting skill to ramp 1 rest it, putting us back at 6. And keep in mind, since we are even with our opponent, when we tap 2 to play this blocker chopper, we're going to be ramping 1 to go ahead one of our opponent. This does bring our Yanji down to a 5,000, but again, we're betting our opponent to swing into our board and not into our life. That's one of the cards they're going to swing into prior to swinging to us, and if that is the case, we're just going to go ahead and block one of those attacks and then let them have the Yanji if they do go for it. And they do have multiple more than just the 2 attacks. They say they have 3. Probably just go ahead and let them go for this. Or if we can actually save, no, we'll let them go ahead and have that because we do have the big one in the hand. We can just go ahead and return these back to, oh yeah, we did swing 7 with that as well. Don't think we didn't. But then we'll go into our turn and we'll draw. Now, at this point, we are back to 1 ahead. 3 ahead on our opponent. So at this point, we can just start being really, really aggressive. And because we are so far ahead, we can actually give. We could do a Dom minus to play out, but that would only draw us 1 card, and that would put another body on board for us. So what we would do is we would, don't forget to refresh everything, would go 7 to lead for sure. Let's see what the response is. And then just go another eight to lead. No, 9 to lead, 9 to lead. And then your opponent's in a bit of a tough spot because you've got some really good potential going on here. And so on their turn, which should be their 10 Don turn, they'll probably spend most of their time coming into your board. And if they can't successfully take out your board, well, they take out this, but they couldn't take out this. That's probably the odds are that we're in an in-game scenario at this point because those were some heavy hits. And if they didn't have the counter to stop most of those, then they are in trouble. So, let's see. Don't know if we have another Ichiji. We'd have to hit one right now. So we go ahead and pitch. Let's go ahead and look at the top. It was fated that we obliterate our opponent. And like I said, if they got blockers and whatnot, and you can't end game or end the game at this point, then obviously you don't go for it. Try to end the game. But that is tapped. You are even with your opponent for 10 for 10. As a Reiju player, that's pretty amazing. So you're gonna go -1 and try and find. You're not really digging for much. You're just getting cards. If you got another, you're gonna use leader skill. Draw again. Oh my gosh! Why did we get rid of our other EGG? We only got one in hand. Chunk, chunk, chunk. Let's see. There's not a whole lot we can do here, but we can make some things happen. Do a decent setup for, like I say, the end game here. So in that case, we would go tap 3 for pudding, and then tap 4 for an EGG, and then we would go down minus, use the EGG to play out another EGG, clean up some of the board if we needed to, or just go straight into the life. We go straight into life. We are gonna go 6, 7, 7. They ain't dead and they coming for you. They got 3 attacks. Say you cleaned out one of those monsters, they got 3 attacks. Leader swing, +1 character. It goes to 1 swing. You go draw 1. And then into another swing. You go take. They go into that 4th swing. 4th swing. You go take. And then if they are not about to swing 11, if they didn't have it, you know they didn't have it, you just obviously go, good game, sir. And give them the 11. Everything on your turn, refresh, these become active. Then you'll get your 2 dawn you spent back, and this is in the hand. Draw for turn. It really doesn't matter because there's no way your opponent survives this onslaught you got coming at them, because this is obviously just a clean 7 to lead, another clean 7 to lead, and then another 7 to lead, and then 8 to lead, and then 9 to lead. I doubt that your opponent is able to survive that, or that they have enough cards or blockers or anything of the sort, especially with the heavy assault that came with them at them the previous turn. That's just, like I say, how the deck roll. Like I say, I'm not saying that everything just goes that smoothly. That's just like if everything was to go smooth, if everything was to go in your favor, and everything panned out as you had played it to pan out. But again, a lot of factors can happen in a game. A lot of different matches you can play. There's some leaders that you can play that just overwhelm you, or you just can't even snowball them like that. But for all the ones that can't, Reiju is pretty strong. Reiju is pretty good. I think that with the support that Reiju is about to get, Reiju just becomes. I think it's in the same spot. I think that the blue Reiju is definitely going to help for the consistency in searching and for having a much more consistent 2K. Because I don't necessarily find myself using the Black Maria or the Sanji. I think they're just honestly, at this point, they're just fillers. For real, for me personally, the reason why I play the Sanjis is because they're blockers, and I needed more blockers for the deck for the situation where I'm in a game where I need a blocker. So the Sanji is in there for that purpose, but the Black Marias I haven't found myself using as much. Like I said, even though I found myself playing against a purple Luffy player, um, I didn't find myself using the Black Marias for anything else but counter, because they were just more effective as counter. But that was just my experience with the deck and how much fun I had with it. Oh, haha. But yeah, that was just my take on Reiju. If you guys want to try and test play my build, go ahead and try and test play my build. You'd have to learn how to play it, because as I just showed you how to play it, that's essentially how you play the curve. If you're a Reiju player and you know how to play Reiju, then obviously a lot of these things make sense to you. But yeah, that's just the gist of it. I think that, like I say, pudding makes this deck so much more stronger because of the ability to keep it within tempo and allowing you to, like I say, just put a little bit more aggression to creatures and just shovel out just a little bit more aggressively. Yeah, I just like it. I just like it a lot. So that's the deck profile. It's the deck explanation. That's how you play it. If you need more, anybody with what, come by look for more. I don't really play on the sim because I personally just have bad experiences on the sim. I personally just don't. I don't agree to the sim. I just don't. I just really don't. My experiences on the sim just don't make sense. But that's just me. But to everybody else enjoying the sim, enjoy the sim. If I could enjoy the sim like a regular person, I would definitely post more sim footage. But because it just seems like I always seem to get these really rid games, I just I just don't even try. So yeah, that's the deck. You guys enjoy and peace. Yeah, once this mouse over here works, this also is gonna make these outros a lot easier.